This is
Make It Plain.
Make It Plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make It Plain.
Get woke.
God bless you. Get woke. Folks, MIP is now COVID-free, meaning free to all subscribers as we navigate this pandemic. We're thinking about everyone, and we've got to get through this together. So for a limited time, no fee to subscribe to Make It Plain on your favorite podcast app. Folks, a lot is going on, obviously, in the country and the nation and the world in the aftermath of George Floyd's death. And now there's even another reporting of another shooting in Louisville. So much is going on. Why don't we check in with a friend from the Black Belt, from Alabama, as a matter of fact. He is the Alabama State Conference Chair of the NAACP. Benard Simelton joins us today. Brother Simelton, God bless you. How are you? And first of all, how are you and your loved ones getting along in this pandemic? Is everybody healthy and safe?
Yes, Mark, we are doing well. We are staying safe. We're doing social distancing, and every time I come home, my wife make me take off my shoes at the door and spray them off before I come in the house. So we are doing fine, and we're just glad to be able to maneuver throughout this, navigate this virus, and we are safe. Though thank you for asking.
So let me ask this too. What's the status in Alabama right now? Are you all? Is everything kind of still shut down, or is it partially open? And I don't even know, Bernard, forgive me, what city are you in?
I'm in the Huntsville area.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, everything is opening back up, and we are almost opened back up completely. The beaches are open, and the governor wanted to get the beaches open so that people could attend the beaches last week on Memorial Day. And so restaurants are open, barbershops are open, nail salons are open, but they're still supposed to practice the social distancing of 6 feet. So restaurants are open at, I think, about 50.
Something happened here. Wait a minute. Oh, that's some interference. Okay, go ahead. Pick up what you said. You said restaurants are open?
Yeah, restaurants are open about 50% of capacity, so that they can able to maintain social distancing. But one store I went by yesterday, Best Buy, they're open, but they're not allowing customers in either. So I don't know if that's just something locally or that's regional, but most other stores like Best Buy, Staples, and Office Depot, they're open. You can go in and buy what you need. So are we seeing the same number of disproportionate infections and deaths when it comes to African Americans in Alabama as we are elsewhere? Right. There's much larger percentage of African American who are dying and who are catching the virus. It's sort of out in Alabama. It's sort of out in Birmingham was the hot spot for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it starts spreading to other parts of the state. And even though Birmingham is still somewhat of a hot spot, it is not as bad as Mobile and Tuscaloosa. And then there's some other smaller towns around the state that their numbers are increasing. So, but Mobile, and of course you've heard on the news, I'm quite sure about Montgomery, the mayor there a week or so ago said, if you get sick here and you need a ICU bed, we don't have it for you. I think that at that particular time they had about 1 bed left. So it's still spreading. It's still active. The virus is not, the quarantine is having an effect, but our numbers are still going up. And I was surprised that the governor
I guess I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised that she opened the state up the way it did, because our numbers are going upwards rather than trending down.
Yeah. So in your view, it's probably, Alabama's probably still not ready to reopen, is it?
Well, no, not fully really ready to reopen. And I can't see when it will be ready to really reopen fully, unless something really changes within the next month or so, that the numbers start trending tremendously down because of the way it's trending now. And then with all the events that are going on, I don't think those numbers are going to trend down. But I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But I don't think they're going to trend down.
Yeah. And it's scary too, man. Just because if black numbers are already high,
right,
and this reopening doesn't go well, black numbers are going to continue to go up. That's enough, brother, without police violence.
Right. Well, it's one thing that some of our NAACP units are doing. They are going to partner with hospitals and other organizations to try and get more testing in some of the communities. And so hopefully that will, hopefully it will let people know whether they have the virus at that particular time only, because every day is a new day as you meet more people, as you work out into the community. You don't know who you come in contact with that may have it, even though people are still wearing masks. And up in North Alabama, for the most part, people wear masks, fairly decent. I would say probably go to the store, probably 50% of the people will have masks. And but as the summer goes on, people start getting out. People start going to the beaches. Matter of fact, our health officer, Dr. Harris, last week said, he did not like what he saw at the beach on Memorial Day. He did not like what he saw. And so, I'm thinking another week or so, you'll determine if that numbers are going up based on people at the beach on Memorial Day and how that's impacting our numbers.
Yeah. It's going to be necessary, obviously, for there to be some type of vote by mail system in November.
Right.
Well, is Alabama ready for that, or what's you all's vote by mail status? I'm scared to ask.
Well, our Secretary of State, John Merrill, he when Trump came out a few weeks ago and said that voting by mail is going to be a lot of cheating and this and that going on, John Merrill came out boldly and said, "Don't worry, Alabama is not going to vote by mail." And so we don't have a quote unquote vote by mail. We do have what he's calling unexcused absentee voting. And that will suffice to some extent, but you still got to have people if you're in a home by yourself, you got to have someone either to come over or you got to go and get your ID, copy picture of your ID, and then submit that or either get it notarized by someone who recognizes you, who know you. So further exposing yourself to elements. And what we would like to see is that everybody have an opportunity to vote by mail without excuse. Now, there's no absentee excuse, but if you read the application that he has, it says, there's a penalty if you lie on the form. But John Merrill is saying, well, just mark the form that you will be sick on that day. And, but that's a false statement, even though he has said that no one's going to be prosecuted over that, but you still signing that false statement. And so we would like to see that everybody, like Colorado, Utah, and some of the other states have totally mail-in ballot options. So
yeah,
that's what we're pushing for.
Yeah, and that's what we need. Any other funny business going on? They're not. they're not purging. You know, sometimes I know they like to purge black voters off the rolls and everything. Pardon
Well,
me.
I mean,
Is that a threat?
They purge periodically after each election. They do a purge. So they will do one after the November election, and so they did one. I think it was last year after the after the year before last. Now after the midterm election, they did a big purge, and several people were purged off the roster. And what we tell people is that, you got to beat the system. You should not have to, but you've got to check and double check to make sure that, your name still appears on the rosters. Because if you wait until the day of the election and you go there and your name is not there, you're running late or whatever, you may not get an opportunity to vote. And we tell people to vote provisional, and I don't totally trust provisional ballots, but you have to sit there sometime and argue with people saying, well, give me a provisional ballot. Some of the polling places don't make it readily available for you to use a provisional ballot if you have to. But we encourage people just to check and double check to make sure that they're still on the voting rolls wherever they vote at.
So where is the Senate race right now? Are we still in the primaries? You all haven't had your primary yet, or have you had your primary?
Yeah, we had our primary back in March, and
that's right.
What happened is we were supposed to have a runoff on the March 27th, and the pandemic hit, and so they have delayed the runoff for anyone that was in the runoff for the primary until July the 14th. So next month we have for the runoff election, all those who are facing runoff that will take place next month.
Now, does that include the runoff include Jeff Sessions and Roy Moore?
Yes. Well, yes. Well, it's not Roy Moore. It's Jeff Sessions and Tommy Tuberville.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So Roy Moore was eliminated.
Right.
Thank God. Now we just got to do something. So, and I know the NAACP is nonpartisan.
Right.
I'm just asking for your political analysis. Can Doug Jones beat Jeff Sessions? In terms of what you think in the fall, in November?
You talking about if Jeff Sessions wins the
Republican nomination? Yeah.
Yes. I think my personal opinion is if Sessions were to beat Tommy Tuberville, and a lot of people saying that he can't, but because Trump has come out and endorsed Tommy Tuberville.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that's what people are saying, that he's going to win over Sessions in the Republican primary, but I think Sessions has a lot of baggage that can be brought up that will enable whoever's running against him to win, Okay. And I don't know if the Republicans will bring it all up, and I don't know if he were to win, I don't know what Trump will say, whether Trump will say, well, go and vote for Doug Jones, he's better than Sessions, or if he would eat some of the words that he's said about Sessions, saying that he's the worst mistake that he made by appointing him as Attorney General. And I put a little nice note out there the other day on a post that I saw about Sessions. I said, Jeff, why don't you encourage people to vote Democrat? What do you have to lose?
So I don't know a lot about Tommy. Can Doug, if Tommy's a nominee, can Doug beat Tommy? Well, first of all, what does Tommy do? Is he an elected official now?
He was the coach of Auburn for Auburn football.
Oh, so, that's who that is. Oh my God.
Yeah. So he's running on that. He doesn't have any political experience, but he's a football coach at Auburn. And of course, between Auburn and Alabama, they think those coaches are they're God and can't do wrong, and so. He's going to get a lot of support, no doubt, but his name, I outside of football is not known, throughout. He's not known in the political world, but since Trump is supporting him, that's going to carry a lot of weight in the primary runoff for Tuberville. So if I would, I think because Sessions still have a lot of supporters in Alabama, and regardless of what he's done, didn't do. He still has a lot of supporters in Alabama. And I was just driving through, the neighborhood the other day, and they're just now beginning to start their kind of final campaign for the runoff. And I just saw a lot more Session signs than I did Tuberville. But that was just one neighborhood, and so I don't know if that means anything or not. Just observation.
It was interesting. If Trump has endorsed Tommy, and then Sessions, kind of shot back at Trump when Trump was attacking him in a tweet. I thought that was interesting. But it's interesting to get your perspective. So Benard, just as we can know each other. So is Alabama your home? Is that where
No, I'm originally from Mississippi.
Okay.
I spent 23 years in the Air Force, and when I retired, we moved to Alabama, and so we've been here 20 years. Next year it's 20 years this year. So been here 20 years.
Amen. So now, tell us about this mayor that is running an ad or something, or promoting a public lynching. Where is this in what's the name of the city? I can't even pronounce it.
You talking about Powell down in Mississippi, or are you talking about something?
Well, where is this? Where is Sylacauga? Sylac. Sylacauga.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes.
Is that it? That's in Alabama?
Right. Yeah. He's saying that all drug dealers who have been convicted twice, 3 times, I think it is, should be taken out and lynched. And that was, his way of, throwing red meat to his strong base there. That he's going to be a tough guy on drug dealers and crime and stuff, saying that people should be lynched, and so we pushed back real hard on that, because that says 2 things to us. One is by the mere fact of him mentioning lynching, and we didn't say he was directing it towards African Americans or anything, but when you use the word lynching, that's what you automatically think about. And so he came back and said, you're all trying to make it about race. And when in our comments about his statement, it did not mention race at all, and we just said it's you can't lynch a person. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal, and all those things. And then he came back and said something about why are you all trying to make this about race? And so we responded. We responded once and said, well, we're not making it about race. We just talking about lynching people, and lynching drug dealers, and specifically,
Yeah, I mean, we know when they start talking about law enforcement when it comes to drug dealers, they're not talking about white drug dealers.
Right.
I mean, we don't see white drug dealers picked up that much. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some white drug dealers in Alabama, just like there are everywhere else.
Yes.
And white folks use drugs in Alabama. But, I mean, that's coded language. And for him to suggest that you're making it about race. So this guy's running for mayor. Is that what he's doing? I'm reading about him. He's a special education teacher.
So we've also asked that he should be removed from the schools where he teaches at because of.
Well, we haven't said his name yet. Hold, let's just say his name. Michael Ray James is his name. Okay. And so you said he should be removed from the school system too.
Right. Exactly. That's what we put in our reply to what he said. Yes, he has no business being in a school system, because, what is he saying to those kids, when he's with them one-on-one, and what is he trying to fill their heads and mind with? And so he has no business being a school teacher and has no business being the mayor of any city, talking like that, And so we're hoping that the people in Sylacauga wise up, and I don't think he's has a good chance of winning, but you never know what might happen in these cases, because and it's a small city. It's not a large town. So
how many black folk live there? Did black folk live there?
I think the percentage, I want to say it's around 20%, something like that, is the majority little white town, population wise. And it's in Talladega County. I don't know if you know where Talladega is, but where this big speedway is, and that's in that county.
So if it's, I'm looking up, the town is 12,000. You say it's 20% black. So what is that, about 300 black people? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so all those all 200 or 300 black people are on drug dealers. But if it's 10,000 more white folk, who's buying and using the drugs, Benard?
Right.
So we gonna go lynch all the white folks buying the drugs from the one or two black drug dealers, if they even any black drug dealers. Who knows? Might not be no black drug. I don't see no black drug dealer making no living in a town of 12,000 white people.
You're right. He tried to have a subtle way of making a statement, but
and it's interesting how these candidates see there probably aren't any, but he says that and it mobilizes the racist whites in his district, just like Ronald Reagan said welfare queen. There was no welfare queen. That was a mythical figure he made up, and the person never existed. But they use that to get their base going, just like they use this whole situation with these police killings. And we know that many of the people who are looting and committing acts of violence don't look like us, Benard. These are white folk that are doing this, and they break these store windows out. So talk to us about this. What's the police situation where you are, and what is the NAACP's relationship, if any, in terms of engaging the police department and holding it accountable in Huntsville? And were you the president of the state conference? So I mean, are your branches? Because let me tell you something, Benard, and you know this, what I'm about to say. We cannot stop police violence from 30,000 feet in the air.
Right. Police
are governed locally. I'm sorry. And I'm going to say this too, and I've said this to Derek. The NAACP is the only civil rights organization we have right now with chapters in almost every city in every state.
Right.
So if we're going to engage in a local struggle against the police departments, we're going to have to engage. The NAACP is going to almost really have to be at the forefront of that, because don't nobody else have no branches everywhere.
Right.
So how are you all? How's that going with you all in Alabama? Are your branches engaging and seeking accountability with police departments, or just what?
Right. And we have been working on this for a number of years. We worked with the sheriff department, the local police department. We work with state troopers. Here it's called ALEA, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. But what we have done, we've gone back and we revised what we are calling 10 demands of the police force.
Okay.
And those range from things like ban the use of the knee, ban that tactic. We have things like if a police has a bad record, release that record of that police, release that to the public, release body cam footage when an incident happened, so that the community, so that the public will see the same thing that you are seeing. And, we can, draw our own conclusions, but that video needs to be out into the community so that people will see what the police see. We are also asking for citizen review boards, and citizen review board with teeth, not just, okay, yeah, we heard that, and we want the citizen review board to have a subpoena power so that they can subpoena someone, put them on an oath, and get them to come in and talk to them, rather than, well, the chief is speaking for the officer, or someone else is speaking for the officer. That does not do justice to what we need for the civilian review boards. So we need civilian review boards that has teeth, and not all appointed by the mayor or anyone like that. They need to be a diverse group, and it needs to be diversified as to how you are selected for that review board. Yeah. So we have these 10 demands that we're giving to our branches, and we're asking our branches to go engage with their local police departments, and let's sit down and talk with them and see, what their responses are, and try to start pushing that way to get police officers to see that, you can make some changes, and the mayors, you can make some changes. Let's have these the review board so that ordinary citizens can see the same thing that you're seeing.
So let me ask you this: have you contemplated yet what the Alabama State Conference might be prepared to do if they don't meet your demands? Have you thought about that yet?
Well, I mean, we always think about that, and we certainly can protest, we can march and do that, but as we tell everybody, the way that we can get that change is through the vote. So we need people to look at what's going on. If the police department does not want to change, well, let's change who's part of the police department. Let's elect people who are going to let's elect a mayor that's going to support a strong citizen review board, that's going to support, certainly support law enforcement, but also support the citizens when they are not wrong. When you get a citizen that is obvious, that's beat up and didn't do anything, just don't automatically assume that the police officer was in the right. And I'm not saying they're always wrong, but they're not always in the right. And why does it, I know you've seen these videos on internet, but I saw one the other day, a white person that was being arrested, and there were two, and I don't remember where it was, but anyway, the arresting officers, I mean, they struggled with this guy. They struggled with him. They struggled. He took their batons and beat him across the head with it. He eventually got loose, got into the police car, and drove away. Not one shot fired. Not one shot fired. And if there had been an African-American, a black person, the person would have been dead. If he had made it to the car, the car would have been full of bullets. But this person drove off and in the police car. And of course, they, eventually caught him, I assume, but, the video ended, when he was driving off. But that's just a disparity and the difference between how blacks are treated and how whites are treated. And so I think, and I know we're getting probably into the Floyd case, but I think that incident has wised up a lot of people. And as I told one of the pastors this morning, is beginning to pull the veil from their eye, and they can see that what blacks have been talking about for years, we weren't just talking to be talking. We weren't complaining just to be complaining. These were actual factual things. We now have the video to help prove it. And still, sometimes when you have the video, it still doesn't, help the case, because police officers feel and believe that they have a protection, that the mayor's going to stick up for them, the governor's going to stick up for them, and of course they're going to stick up for one another, and that they are untouchable. And so I'm hoping that with our persistence, and we're telling our branches to be persistent. If the chief of police tell you, well, I don't want to do it don't want to engage in that, well, maybe wait a week or so, but keep pressing him or her that we need to sit down and have this conversation, talk about these things. And there may be some others that, you may want to add to the list, that each branch want to add to their own list,
Yeah. As an Alabama transplant from Mississippi, I'm sure you and your family know something about lynchings. I'm just sure that's true, right?
Well, I mean, from reading, I haven't personally experienced or witnessed, but yeah, some reading and stuff like that, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it's close. I mean, it's happened a lot of times in states where you live.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Tell us just from a personal level, what was your reaction when you first saw that George Floyd video?
Well, as I posted on my Facebook page, I mean, that really hurt me to the core. I could not believe what my eyes were seeing. I mean, you think it was something that was made up or something like that. How can a human being keep their knee on the neck of another person with the handcuffs behind their back, and then two other officers helping to hold this man down? How can that happen today, Mark, in a society that is supposed to be concerned about humanity? Yeah. How can that happen to a person? I mean, and the man is sitting there begging, say, "Sir, I can't breathe. I cannot breathe." And a mayor somewhere said, well, that was the mayor in Pell, Mississippi. The mayor there's a white guy. He said, well, if he can talk, he can breathe. And while the officer had his knee on the person's neck, killing him. I mean, at any time, any of those other three police officers should have and had the right to say, this is going overboard.
Right.
What were they trying to do? Were they trying to apprehend him? Were they trying to, what were they trying to do? Because they had him under control. He couldn't do anything. Were they trying to put him in a police car? What were they trying to do? What was going through their minds? Other than just, I want to kill this, what? That's what was going through their mind. And I hope no parent, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, no person will have to see their loved one suffer and die on national TV like that. And if it had not been for those who were videotaping it, I guarantee you the story would have been much, much different. Oh, he was trying to get away and he did this and he did that. But thank God for the video.
Lastly, you mentioned the importance of the vote.
Right.
And again, because some people don't really get, Benard, how localized policing is.
Yes.
Okay. And so some people don't get the importance of voting on the local level, especially young people. And I was on a couple of conference calls this morning, and people were saying that they're afraid young people will really be disaffected this election because they're so angry. They don't trust the system, and that they just don't see how a vote is going to stop the police from killing them. But you just said it. So in closing today, reiterate that and expand on that, if you would, how policing is local. And if you don't vote for elected officials that run on platforms to hold the police accountable, it really won't change, right? I mean, can you emphasize that, please?
Yes. And for all our, I don't know how many people will be listening to this, but that's one of the additional things that we have that we can use to make change, to affect change. Yes, we can protest, we can speak up and have rallies and marches, but until we take ourselves to the polls and start voting in large numbers, to say, I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of electing the same person and getting the same results, or electing his sister or brother, the cousin. We need to elect a new group of people and we need to start with our president of these United States, elect people who are going to treat people as human, view people as human beings rather than, animals or whatever. Blacks are not asking for anything extra. Only thing we're asking to do is be treated the same way you would treat your sister or brother, as in the Bible. Treat me like you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Not treat me like I'm some outcast person. I'm a human being. Treat me that way. Respect me that way. If I'm coming home from work at night, driving, don't automatically assume that I'm a drug dealer. Don't automatically assume that I'm out to no good. If the person is white, you don't assume that he or she is up to no good. And I know you saw the video about the truck driver who was trying to deliver a product to the exclusive neighborhood.
Right.
The neighbors came out and blocked, and and I'm all for neighbors watching neighbors, neighborhood watch. But if that person had been a white person, would he have been treated the same way? No. Mark, we still have a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do. And the Alabama NAACP is going to do everything we can to make sure that every person who's eligible to vote, that they're registered, and then make sure that they get out to the polls in July and then again in November.
Sir, I know you will. Benard Simelton, good to see you, brother. Good to talk to you. Glad you're doing the work that you're doing. You're always welcome here on the show. And keep us posted about some of the things you're working on too, so that we can share with others and be sure people see it. I've always said that the strength of the NAACP is in the local branches and the state conference.
Right.
That's where the real work is taking place. My good friend Dick Gregory, as you know, used to always have a saying: when black folk get in trouble, they call two names, Jesus and the NAACP. Right. So you're down there in the battlefield on the front line, especially being in Alabama, brother. So we pray your strength. Be careful. I hope you and your family remains healthy and protected, and all your members, NAACP members, stay home and avoid this plague that is going on. Okay, brother?
All right. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. And let me give a shout out to Tara Foster, who helped set this up for me. She worked very hard to get this done. So I appreciate it. And thank you.
Well, no, I thank you. And God bless Tara, too. She's doing important work, and she's always talking about the work that you're doing, too. So please don't. She shouldn't have to work hard. You just let us know. If we don't reach out to you first, if you need us, you let us know, and we'll make it happen, okay?
All right. I appreciate it.
Benard Simelton, folks, is the president of the Alabama State Conference of the NAACP.
God, you are our refuge. Send our ancestors to guard our doors. Cast out this virus from our communities and our bodies. Heal, bless, and protect everyone listening and their loved ones. Thank you for listening to Make It Plain and Get Woke. Remember to listen, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. If all minds are clear, it has been made plain.